Good morning. Thanks for getting up in the morning, especially if you're in Anchorage, Alaska. Hi, Linda. Good job. Okay, we're going to sit together for a few minutes of quiet. I've queued up this poem that I really like a lot from Kabir, which I heard years and years ago, and it stuck with me. And I got to hear it from Ram Dass. He was reading it in the satsang at Brighton Bush Hot Springs. So please take a comfortable seat, an upright seat. You've made it here. You're already doing a great job supporting the day and your life and your health and your well-being, which also means your family, your community. You can rest your hands in your lap and let your eyes close. Lengthen up through your spine and try to set yourself as if you were the body of the candle and also the flame. You can imagine that flame in the center of the heart. So you are the wick, the wax, the flame. You are also the wind that allows the flame to be brightened. We are blessed to have the fire starter, that inspiration. You might call that consciousness or grace, longing or love. Whatever it is that motivated you to be here this morning, not just for flexible muscles, something deeper than that. As you take your seat, you can listen to these words. They come from Kabir. He said, "Are you looking for me? I am in the next seat. My shoulder is against yours. You will not find me in the stupas, not in Indian shrine rooms, nor in synagogues, nor in cathedrals, not in masses, nor kirtans, not in legs winding around your own neck, nor in eating nothing but vegetables. When you really look for me, you will see me instantly. You will find me in the tiniest house of time." Kabir says, "Student, tell me, what is God? He is the breath inside the breath. You will not find me in eating nothing but vegetables, nor in winding legs around your own neck. Student, tell me, what is God? It is the breath inside the breath." So allow your breathing now to deepen, to become smoother along this central channel, as I've been calling it, the plumb line. And try to sense what is the quality of the breath this morning, which might be reflecting the quality of your sleep, the choices you made for your evening meal, might be reflecting when you woke up this morning, what were the first couple of activities. Whatever that reflection, know that in your practice you can come back to that inner sense that is the breath inside the breath. That is where we commune in the practice of yoga. May we, during our practice this morning, be good students together, saha. May we realize the practice is to create a protective field so we are not barraged by our own mental habits. The practice is to nourish, so we have access to our vitality and our resilience. The practice is to help us be vigorous when needed, to be diligent and dedicated, to help us overcome darkness and return to the luminous. And may this practice prevent us from becoming impatient or succumbing to animosity or hatred. So please bring your hands together at your heart. And we can sing together. Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Saviryam karavavai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma virvishavahi, Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Saviryam karavavai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma vivishavahi. Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Saviryam karavavai, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma vidvishavahi. Om Shanti Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. Release your hands. Please open your eyes. And we are going to begin with a short pranayama practice right now using breath of fire. We'll do it seated. So when we do breath of fire, we're going to do it first out the mouth so that you can really sense the power of the diaphragm. And then we'll do it through the nose. And then we'll do an inhale left nostril. We'll hold the breath. We'll let it out. Inhale right nostril. We'll hold the breath and then we'll let it out. Okay, so place one hand on your solar plexus so that you know where the diaphragm, the experience of the diaphragm during breath of fire is that you're going very strongly, like blowing out one candle repeatedly, and the diaphragm pulls in at the solar plexus. It's the reaction of that that lets the next inhale just be whatever your body needs. So one hand at the solar plexus, please. You can close your eyes. And begin with just a half inhale, and then you can follow my pace, please. Exhale completely. Close the right nostril, inhale left side. And hold the breath. Exhale through the nose. Close the left nostril, inhale right side. And hold the breath. Exhale through both nostrils. Now we do breath of fire through the nose, which is a smaller opening and requires more power at the solar plexus and also more elegance. So take a half inhale and then please follow my pace. Exhale completely. Now close the right nostril, inhale left side. Hold the breath. Exhale through both nostrils. Close the left nostril, inhale right side. Hold the breath. Exhale through both nostrils. We're going to repeat this one more time. We'll take a half inhale. Exhale completely. Bring your right hand up, inhale left side. And hold the breath. Exhale through both nostrils. Close the left nostril, inhale right side. And hold the breath. And exhale through both nostrils. And then imagine yourself sitting just very quietly. You are the wick of the candle. You are the wax of the candle. You are also the flame, the air that surrounds it. God is the breath inside the breath, the fire inside the fire. And our duty as yogis is when the candle flame of our hearts is lit, it can help to light the flame of others, but never as a yoga missionary, only as an ambassador, a role model. We're going to come up to standing and set up a chair. You can see there's a chair behind me. We're going to use that chair to open the upper back and shoulders before we step in to the full sun salutation. Let me change my camera view. It's funny to see myself on a large monitor and then also see all of you. Okay, so that's the chair setup, and there's a rolled blanket also. And let's see how you can see me. Yeah, very good. Okay, so we're going to use the chair and a block to help open the shoulders and the upper back. So the blanket roll is for the knees. So when you come down, what I'm going to ask you to do is set up so that when you put your elbows on this chair seat, something like this, that the blanket is going to be under your knees. And you can see that mine is too far back right now. So I have to bring my blanket roll closer, because I'd like it to be under the knees for the purpose of what we're going to do in child's pose. Okay, and let me tie my hair back so you can see me. So that's what the blanket roll looks like. It goes under the knees. And that means that when you're kneeling, the knees are higher They are higher than the ankles. Okay. Before I go into this, let me also bring my microphone closer because you'll hear me better. Okay, so what we're going to do is open the upper back, neck, and shoulders to see if we can improve the experience of the breath. So the block goes between the hands like this on the wide setting. Please put the heels of your hands on the block so that you're not cheating by having the wrists sneak in like so. And then you place the elbows and the knees on the blanket roll. And when you hold the block between the hands, go ahead and point it up towards the ceiling. And then try to get the sense that the elbows, they are fixed to the chair, and you want to lengthen back through your hips and your spine without overarching the lower back. And try to sense how the wind element now comes into the body as the breath. And listen for where your breath feels welcomed inside. Any place where there's resistance, you also can take note of that. But don't force the places of resistance. Please think of it as an invitation to sense what is the breath inside the breath. Kabir said, you're not going to experience God by eating nothing but vegetables. In other words, by being too rigid, nor by wrapping your leg around your own neck. So not by performing awesome feats of the body. We might do those things, eat just vegetables and have awesome experiences in the body. But God is something, he said, in the tiniest house of time, the breath inside the breath. And so I'm going to ask you now to put the block on the chair seat and walk yourself back so that now you have your hands up on the chair seat and your hips go down towards child's pose. And try to sense now, where does the breath move? And my hope is that you can sense the breath across the back of your waist and the sides of your waist as well. For those of you who can do it, the inhale can also include the heart, especially the back side of the heart. If you don't have a chair, by the way, in your yoga space, you could also use the coffee table. You could use a physio ball. You could use a stack of blocks, a stable dog at just the right height. Has to be a large dog. Noticing the breath there. Now I'm going to ask you to lift up, reach for your block, okay, and place it behind you. And take the blanket and place it in front of you. So that's going to be for your head. Please watch here. You can put the block behind so the floor is not too far away. And when you do this, you're going to try to keep the inner body toned. And yet we're going to do a little back bending. So the knuckles come down to the block. Lift up through your heart. Open your throat. And then exhale. And as you bow forward, aim to place your forehead on the blanket and then to raise the arms up. And then roll your heels down. This is like tick-tock. We're going to take the knuckles to the block, roll the chest and heart open. And then exhale and pour the torso forward. So you have to use your inner body for the support, and then bow your forehead gently to the blanket or to the floor if you prefer that. Raise your arms up towards the ceiling. And then again, roll your hips down towards your heels. Roll the spine up and back bend. Reach up through the candle flame of the heart. And then last one, roll forward through the torso. Let the hips stay towards the heels if possible. They might lift a little bit, that does happen. And then roll the arms up. And now release your hands to go on the floor next to your knees. And press yourself down through the palms to roll your torso up to the crown of your skull. And notice how things are feeling. Particularly, you might notice if there's some heat in the shoulders. You might notice if there's some easier experience of the breath. You might notice if there's anything that feels more vibrant. And then take your rolled blanket and just place it to the side of your mat. So we're going to step into the sun salutation, which means I'm going to face forward. You can also put the chair aside, or you can leave it right where it is. It's not going to be in your way. I'll put mine a couple inches aside so you don't feel concerned about me knocking into it. And when you come up to standing for Surya Namaskar, bring your hands together at your heart. Set your feet so they're parallel, and also so they're hip distance wide. Bring your palms. Let's anticipate that you've done something to the Vayu, that's this region of the chest. You've done something to influence a more hopeful outcome during your practice. Vayu is the circulatory principle. We want that inner sense of God to circulate out to all regions of the body and then beyond. We're not limited to the skin of the body here. Here we go. Inhale, sweep your hands down, wide and up. And then exhale, take the arms wide, like a full moon in the sky. Bow forward, lightly touch the two blocks or the floor. Inhale, glide your heart forward. Look forward. Exhale, left foot straight back. Inhale to rise, crescent lunge. Beautiful, yes. Exhale to descend, slow and steady. Inhale to step forward, bring your heart forward. Exhale, right toes back. Use the complete exhale so you're toning the low belly and squeezing the breath out. Then inhale to rise. Lovely. And as you exhale, descend. Synchronize the length of your breath with your movements and your movements with your breath. Inhale, step forward, bring your heart forward. And exhale to bow deeply towards the legs. Reach back and interlace your fingers at the small of your back and roll the shoulders open, whatever amount you can do. And it's fine to bend the knees to make the pose more stable if you need to. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, root down through your tailbone and start rolling up. About halfway up, you're going to inhale and think of that back bend you just did from kneeling. And then exhale, bring yourself upright. Release your hands to Anjali Mudra. And we're going to repeat that with a slight addition. So inhale, hands down, wide and up. Celebrate that you're awake at this hour and you're practicing yoga with others. Come down, Uttanasana. The inhale, glide your heart forward. Bring your gaze forward. With exhale, take your left foot back. Now this time as you inhale to rise, same as before. When you exhale to go forward now, come forward and reach back to interlace your fingers at the small of your back. And then inhale, roll up to a little back bend in your crescent lunge. For some of you, your knuckles are going to touch the back of your left thigh. And then exhale, and as you pour yourself forward, keep the right thigh steady and take the hands and arms up towards the ceiling while clasping the fingers. The inhale, roll up, take the tailbone down so the pelvis is the fulcrum here, and then the heart gets to have its own circle. Exhale, bow forward, the pelvis is supporting that. Let your torso gently come close to but not rest on your right thigh. Okay, last time, inhale to roll up. And exhale to slowly descend, including place your hands back on the blocks. And now inhale, step forward, bring your heart forward. With your exhale, take your right toes back. Inhale, rise up, synchronize, and take your time. Yes, beautiful. With your exhale, bow forward, reach back and change the interlace of your fingers so it feels like the awkward hand hold. And then inhale, roll yourself up. It's the pelvis as the fulcrum first, then the torso and the heart. And exhale to bow over your left thigh, lightly touching but not resting on. Twice more. Notice the pace of the breath cycle, which best serves you. It's probably neither too fast nor too slow. This time, exhale to come forward and release your fingertips to the blocks. Inhale, step forward with your right foot, bring your heart forward. And then exhale to bow deeply towards the legs. And one more time, reach back to clasp your hands, roll the shoulders open, and take the shoulder blades and move them up towards your hips. So the back of the neck feels longer, and you can shake the head gently to loosen any unnecessary tension in the neck or the throat. And then when you feel ready to, use the exhale to come halfway up. And then inhale to continue rising up. We're going to move into this standing back bend. And then exhale to come upright, just to mountain pose. You might have a spontaneous, even involuntary smile. Just feel the body, right? Receiving the practice and your efforts. Now we're going to do the full sun salutation. We will include Anjaneyasana and cobra pose. And on Tuesday morning, we were looking at cobra pose with the two blocks and the side view. I'll stay in this orientation, but I'll discuss that cobra pose when we get there. So join your hands together, please. Thanks for being here, everyone. Inhale. Nice and tall. Reach up and make a little back bend at the top of your pose. And then exhale and bow forward. Now smoothly glide your heart forward. Do not forget the breath inside the breath. Take your left toes way back and touch your left knee down. And then rise up to Anjaneyasana. We're going to stay for several breath cycles. And so I'm going to give some refinements to the pose. They're not all meant for everyone, so you check which ones you need. You press down into the right toes and heel to lift the inner arch. Keep your right knee pointing straight on towards the third toe. And as you press down into your left knee, sweep the pubic bone gently up, so you are not right now resting on the front of your right thigh. And then fountain upwards through the heart. Widen your shoulder blades around your rib cage. Let the elbows spin towards the center. And if possible, the pinky fingers touch each other overhead. And then exhale, pull your elbows down, gaze forward. And inhale, reach up. Exhale, pull the elbows down, gaze forward. Keep your right heel grounded. Once more, inhale to reach up. And exhale, pull the elbows down, gaze forward, and please come forward. And then place the blocks aside and step backwards to downward facing dog pose. And try to notice in downward dog pose, like, what is the temperature of the upper back right now? What's happening in your shoulders? And in this region called Vyana Vayu, which is not just the front of the heart, also the back of the heart. And from this center in the chest, circulation flows everywhere. We want it to be unimpeded. So circulation out to the most distal places in the body and returning to the heart from those places. And please inhale, come forward to plank pose. Gaze down between your thumbs. And then our first cobra pose this morning is going to be without any yoga props. So when you exhale, come down through Chaturanga Dandasana, onto your stomach. Please point the toes. Now on Tuesday we did inchworm, cobra. So that's inchworm is knees, chest, and chin, and then cobra is as you know it. So let's inhale, roll up to Bhujangasana. Bring your heart forward. And then you exhale and you bow the heart down. Pick the hips up, bring your chin down. Then inhale, scoot forward, Bhujangasana. Exhale, inchworm pose, knees, chest, and chin. Inhale, Bhujangasana. Exhale, knees, chest, and chin. Once more, inhale, Bhujangasana. And then exhale, roll down, curl your toes under, and press up to plank pose. And then reach your hips high to downward facing dog pose. And notice again, any change in the temperature of the upper back, any additional freedom to the breath, just sensing like what's emerging for you with your dedication moment to moment. In just a second, we're going to step the left foot forward between the hands, and that's going to take us to Anjaneyasana. So if you'd like, you can put the blocks back under your hands for downward dog pose, or you can step forward and then bring your blocks in. Touch the left heel down, right knee down, and then inhale, rise up, Anjaneyasana. And check the fine points in your pose again. So the left toes are anchored, left heel steady. Lift the inner left arch. I know you can do it. Yeah. And then without hammocking into your front hip, zip the pubic bone up. So you might be touching the left thigh with the abdomen, but you're not resting on it. And then widen your shoulder blades around your rib cage, so your pinky fingers might touch as you gaze up. Then exhale, gaze forward, pull your elbows down. Inhale, reach up. Lift the rib cage and your heart, your arms and hands. Exhale, pull your elbows down, gaze forward. Do not shrink the lower back into compression. Inhale, raise up. And last one, exhale, elbows down, gaze forward. And come forward. Touch the two blocks. Pick up your right knee and please step your right foot up to meet your left foot. And then exhale for a deep bow towards your legs in Uttanasana. And inhale, rise up, Urdhva Hastasana. And this time on the sun salutation, join your hands to your heart. This time we'll use the blocks for cobra pose. If you don't have them placed, go ahead and put them on either side of your ankles. If you don't have blocks, please don't worry. You can just continue. Your practice is beautiful with or without them. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Good. Exhale, Uttanasana. You inhale the heart forward. Exhale, step backwards to downward facing dog pose. You can place your hands on the blocks, means you have a higher dog pose. Notice if you're not using blocks, it's fine. You actually could use something stable under each hand perhaps, but let's get you some blocks if you don't have them yet. There's a place to purchase them on the website. So now in this downward dog pose, reach your hips way back, lengthen your spine. And then as you inhale, come forward to plank pose and set your shoulders up over your wrists. Then step one foot over towards upward dog pose and begin to curl the chest forward. Step the other foot over to upward facing dog pose. Good. And then as you exhale, slide your shoulders back, bend your elbows, bring the tops of your knees, your thighs, and then the pelvis to cobra pose. Keep the shoulders way back behind the heart. And then you're going to inhale halfway back up, like between cobra and upward dog. Feel the chest and the heart. Then exhale, roll down towards a lower cobra pose with your hands on the blocks. Inhale halfway up, roll the shoulders back. And exhale to roll down. Notice the heat in your body. And this time we roll back up to seal or upward dog pose. So as you're rolling, take the shoulders back, straighten the arms when you can, press the tops of your feet down, and then exhale, roll up, plank pose. And now reach backwards, downward facing dog. And notice what has happened with the breath, with your body temperature, with the focus of your mind. Now as you next exhale, step forward with your right foot. So this is called the basic lunge. We're going to check this out where we twist a snug twist, and then we're going to twist into an open twist. So place your right hand on your right knee and take the block under your left hand directly under your shoulder. And then start stacking your rib cage as you twist to the right. Stack your rib cage over your left arm bone. You can use the support of your right hand against your right knee to help you with the twist. And I do want you to imagine that you can stack from your left wrist to your elbow, to the upper arm bone, to the shoulder joint, and then to the rib cage, left rib cage, your spine, right rib cage, and now the right arm. And then as you exhale, unwind this twist. Now take the block under your left hand and move it sideways and give it a slight diagonal. Move the block near your right foot and turn your right toes out on a diagonal also. So you've got these two diagonals, and stack over your left shoulder. Place your right hand on your right hip. Roll the right shoulder back like you would in cobra pose. It's okay to gaze down. When you feel that things are stacked and you've got the strength of the left arm, then raise your heart, your right arm, and if you like, you can also raise your eyes. And then when you exhale, start coming down. Make the right foot parallel again. Bring the blocks back in. And please step backwards to downward facing dog pose. When you step back, take notice again. What's happening in the body? Let these efforts become the medicine for your body, moving the residue, but also the medicine for the heart, clearing out whatever obstacles are there, so your native heart comes back into full expression. Now step forward with your left foot. We're going to do the snug version of the twist first. So let's make the right leg strong and stable. The right heel is not on the floor. This is the basic lunge. Take your right block directly under your right shoulder, left hand to your left knee, and then begin the process of twisting lower belly, mid belly. But be really specific this morning that as you twist, you're also very much aware of your right wrist, right elbow, right upper arm. The arm and shoulder socket is such that the ball of the arm is on the arm bone and the socket is on the trunk. So imagine rotating your socket over your right arm bone. And then stack the right rib cage, left rib cage, and raise your left arm. Do not collapse onto the right arm bone or shoulder. Press firmly down through the strength of your right arm. And then as you exhale, lower this one down, and let's place the block under the right hand to the side on a diagonal. Move the block for the other so you can turn your left foot to a diagonal. Try to make them kind of equal here. And then gazing down at your right wrist, start stacking over the strength of your right arm. Let's keep the right leg strong too, please. As you take your left hand to your left hip, turn the left shoulder back like you're doing cobra pose. And then you might raise your left arm. Notice the state of the open twist in the body. And then as you exhale, lower this one down, turn the left foot to be forward, bring the block back in, bring the other block back in, and please step backwards to downward dog pose one more time. And in your downward dog pose, let there be moments of reflection, but not evaluation. Just seeing what happens when you remove the wax of the body, you discover the wick, the candle flame, the breath. What's happening with these elements? And please touch your knees down. And let's go backwards to child's pose with one block under your forehead, please. Enjoy a few breath cycles there. Many years ago, the most commonly requested yoga pose in classes at the studio was pigeon pose, what we call pigeon pose, which was just a part of a pose called pigeon pose. And we're going to explore that now. So please walk your hands back towards your knees. And I want to give you a way to approach pigeon pose because some of you know that I have a hip replacement. I was in a car accident and that required major surgery, and that required a hip replacement surgery. So those are some of my life events. No big deal, it's just what it is. But pigeon pose is much more comfortable and structurally organized when I use this blanket roll. So I'm going to ask you to place your rolled blanket on the right side of your mat like this. And you have your two blocks. That's going to be purposeful when we step forward. So you have to be a little bit, let's say, gymnastic about this. You're going to step back to plank pose, and then bring your right foot forward so that the edge of your foot is on the floor, and then the sole of the foot is against this block right here. And we are trying to lower the right knee and the right thigh to the blanket roll. And then the blocks can go forward. And you may walk your hands forward to the floor. Something like this. And for those who prefer, and I'm one of those people, you can make the blocks into a little elbow desk, like so. And for those who prefer, and I'm one of those people, you can take your glasses off and make your hands into little supports for the eyes. It's not to say that you're holding your head in your hand in misery. You're giving the eyes a break and taking the attention inward. Keep the left leg strong, please, in pigeon pose. It's not a lazy left leg, in other words. And the sacrum and pelvis are relatively level. That's why we have the blanket roll under the right knee, right thigh, and so on. Now we're going to add a little twist to this. So if you're using your elbow desk, you can keep your left arm, on the left block. And you take the right hand either to the block to the right of your pose, or you can put your right hand on your right knee if you're not using a block, and twist your upper body to your right. When we stepped into this pigeon pose, because of how I was asking you to come into it, your right shin is more likely parallel to the front edge of your yoga mat. And I know that's not possible for everyone. So I'm just offering it as a clarification if that's within the scope of your right hip joint. Okay, and let's untwist. Okay, place your two blocks where they started. So you're going to be stepping backwards to plank pose. This is a wide plank pose, yes. So you press into both hands and step the right toes back. And if you're gymnastic about it, you can put the block on the right hand inside and then touch the knees down. Switch your blanket to the other side of your mat. Place the block. So this is your wide hand plank pose. And then bring the left leg forward. So see if you can get the edge of your foot to the block and where the block meets the floor. Okay, so there's the sole of your foot against the block like in mountain pose. And then you can place your left knee, left thigh on the blanket. Maybe you need a couple of blankets. You can walk the hands forward or you can make your elbow desks. The desks for your elbows. And you could cup the hands for the eyes. You also could put the hands in prayer position and let that rest at the center of the forehead. Please keep the right leg strong behind you. And listen for the breath happening inside right now. Appreciate yourself for making the effort to be on your mat this morning. This is a very, very important dedication. Then you can add a twist to your pose if you'd like, which means you could keep your left elbow on the elbow block, turn it parallel to the front of your mat. Take your, right hand on your elbow block. Make the right forearm parallel to the mat. And the left hand can go on your block or on your knee. So you're twisting your upper body to your left, but I'd like the lower body to remain stable. So keep the right leg strong behind you. And then as you exhale, when you're ready to, you're going to release from the pose. And let's walk the right block back. Sorry. I often mirror students, and I didn't mirror when I started the setup. Okay, take a wide hand plank pose. If you are gymnastic about it, you can bring the left block in and then touch the knees down. Put your blocks aside. Bring your chair in, or your ottoman, your dog, your very large dog, the sofa, the coffee table, whatever it needs to be. Take the blanket roll down the length of your mat. So I'm going to roll mine to be a little bit more firm, like this. And I'm going to ask you to sit on the blanket. I rarely give you permission to sit on the blanket, but we are going to sit on it and lie back like a little waterfall this way. So you sit on it, put the legs up, like so, and then support your sacrum, your lumbar spine, your upper back. So the pelvis here should feel like it's level, right? Not a big back bend pelvis, and not a big posterior tilt pelvis either, but level. And then take the arms. And if you'd like to darken the eyes a little bit, you can use your shawl or your eye pillow or the sleeve of your sweatshirt or the tail of the cat, if the cat is willing to be still. And then let your attention go inwards. So this Shavasana practice precedes a pranayama and meditation practice. So this is a really important Shavasana because we want you to be as prepared as possible for the pranayama. So relax all effort from the physical practice. Release all effort. Imagine the body like the melting wax of a candle. The beautiful surrender the wax knows for the candle flame to continue to burn. The wax has to melt down the sides of the candle. So for your heart to continue to become clear every day, we have to melt the unhelpful residue of daily living. That is the mental residue, the psychic residue, the emotional residue, and also the physical residue that accumulates as a result of those things. Allow yourself to receive very deeply the practice that you just committed to and the medicine inside the practice. Sana Vavatu Sana Vavatu. May this practice protect us. May we build our immunity, our inner strength and clarity. May we not be assaulted by the negative aspects of the human mind. Sana Vavatu. Sana Bhunaktu. Sana Bhunaktu. May this practice nourish us. May we be deeply connected to nature and the source of all vitality and resilience. Sana Bhunaktu. Sana this practice together help us to know how to be courageous and vigorous when necessary. Savidyam Tejasvina Vaditamastu May our practice help us to return to that which is luminous. May we overcome the propensity for human darkness. May our practice help us in not succumbing to impatience, animosity, or hatred. Okay, now lightly deepen your breathing. And gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. You've been on this blanket roll, so please slide your knees towards your chest and thoughtfully roll down to your right side. You can roll to your side if you haven't yet, and please find your way up to sitting. We're going to take a seat for pranayama and then for meditation. And I'm sitting on a physio ball, so if I seem to be moving a little bit, that's why. I'm not sitting on the floor. I'm back at my floor desk here so I can see you. Okay, so please sit upright. Rest your hands in your lap. You may close your eyes. So we'll be using Nadi Shodhana, the alternate nostril breathing. And what happens here is we're going to inhale through the left nostril, and then we'll be pausing. We call that inhale suspension. And then we're going to exhale through the right nostril. We'll have a very slight pause, and then we'll inhale through the right nostril again. So the inhale suspension, I'm going to ask you to make it equal to the length of your inhale and the length of your exhale. So that forms a triangle. Inhale, suspension, and exhale makes a triangle. So please bring your right hand up, and you can close the right nostril. Inhale left side only. Hold the breath. You may release the right hand down. Whatever the length of your inhale was, that is your inhale suspension now. And then bring the right hand up and exhale out the right nostril. Now just a really brief pause, and then inhale, right nostril. Suspend the breath. Lift the chest to brighten your heart during inhale suspension. So the low belly goes in and up, and the chin comes down and in. Then you place the right hand again to exhale left nostril. Tiny pause. Inhale left side. Suspending at your own pace. Exhale right nostril at your own pace. Inhale right. After your suspension, exhale left nostril. And then release the right hand down. Invite yourself to come to a quiet seat. Listen for the breath inside the breath. It's possible that after pranayama, you have a very shallow, very subtle experience of the breath. Listen for the silence behind all thought. Invite your mind and your senses to be still and to feel the breath inside the breath, the fire that causes fire, the grace that causes consciousness, and the love that you know you want to be and express. Listen again for the breath inside the breath, the flame inside the flame, the water that creates water, the grace that allows consciousness, and the love that you most want to be and express. Please bring your hands together at your heart. We can sing together the Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. You may bow your head to your heart if you like. Thank you very much for being here. We do have some time for visiting. You'll have to see the amazing sunshine outside my window in my glasses, but we have time for visiting. So We also can sit quietly together. You don't have to speak right now.